Hello and welcome to the Active Life. My name is Jeff Harding, and I'm sitting in for Kyle Case, who's out and about getting ready for the Huntsman World Senior Games. Sitting with me is Mr. Andy Groft. Andy, how are you doing?
I'm doing great and glad to be here, Jeffrey.
Good to have you here. Yeah, this is kind of the exciting time of the year. The games start in just a few days.
It's unbelievable. On Sunday, right?
Well, right. The athletes will be coming in to check in on Sunday, and everything gets underway on Monday.
Wow.
Crazy time of year. I don't know about you, Andy, but right now we're just going like crazy trying to get stuff done, and people see us. We're working with volunteers, and we're stuffing the welcome bags. I mean, everything's going crazy. But the question I get asked most often is, so, Jeff, what do you do the other 11 months out of the year?
We start working the week before the games, and then we do the games, and then we
finish the week after. Yes, and we laugh because we know that there's a lot to do to get the games ready. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of planning, preparation, teamwork. Everything has to fall in place to make a world-class event.
Definitely.
And that reminds me a little bit of the guest that's coming on today. He is a professional athlete, or has been a professional athlete. He was a college athlete. And I would believe that, I would have to say that the same thing is true of the sports. You don't just walk into the game and expect to be able to perform at a high level.
That's right. A lot of preparation to put on a great game.
Exactly. Yeah. You have to work, and it's not just practicing basketball. You have to hit the weights. There's lots of things you have to do. Well, our guest today is Thurl Bailey, basketball superstar. I mean, just a great. I've watched him for years. I've thoroughly enjoyed him. So, without any further ado, let's bring Thurl on board. Thurl, are you there?
Yeah, I wouldn't just throw that superstar word around, though. I don't know if that describes me.
Well, if you were to throw it around, it might not work, but we'll be happy to throw it around for you.
And Thurl, this is Andy. I'm just in here with Jeff.
Andy.
But I'll tell you what, man, I watched you as a kid. I watched you and Carl and John, and you were a superstar. I mean, that's what we called you, so it's very natural coming from my
mouth. Now you're telling my age. You said you watched me as a kid.
well, actually, Thurl, I can't say that. I watched you as an adult. So I think I'm probably a little bit older than you, but good to have you here. We want to just start off with a little bit. We'll get to the later in life, but I want to know about your early experience with sports. How did you get started? What did you get started with? Did you do different sports? So talk a little bit about that to us, Thurl.
No, I was a one-sport guy, and I didn't even start playing basketball, and it wasn't even playing. I didn't even pick up a basketball until I was about 13. 13 years old, I was 6 feet, 4.5, 5 inches tall. And
oh, wow.
And I was watching my first basketball game with my dad on my mom's couch and on a Zenith TV set. And there was a guy who was just an incredible athlete. Matter of fact, he has some ties to where you guys are right now. It was Dr. J.
Oh yeah. He's lived down here for a while.
Yeah, and so, I saw him do something so incredible, and it kind of it ignited something in me that wanted to be like him. I think that's where it really started. But, as Andy talked about, as both of you talked about, in order to get where you want to get in life or in anything, you've got to prepare. And it took me a lot of preparation and a lot of people that believed in me and saw potential in me for me to be able to make that dream come true. And I call it the full circle. I spent so much time wanting to be like him. I finally made it to the NBA, one of my first games. The guy comes up to me on the court and reaches his hand out and congratulates me on a great college season and welcomed me into the league, and it was Dr. J.
Wow,
oh my gosh.
That is an amazing full circle. Wow,
Yeah,
great story. Great story. Well, let's go back and talk about. I remember watching. Now, correct me if it seems like your trip to the Final Four passed through Weber State College. Is that correct?
It did.
I was at Weber State and watched you play there, and I remember being so impressed with your play because Ralph Sampson was all the rage. I mean, that's all anybody wanted to talk about. And I watched you, and I thought, man, I would rather have him become a jazz man than Ralph Sampson. And it happened, and I was so excited. But take us back and tell us about that year.
Well, I need to thank you for that, first of all. Now I know who was responsible for me.
Yeah, I
thank you.
Yeah, you've been my pleasure, Thurl.
But it was what an amazing journey. I mean, I don't know if you saw the 30 for 30 that ESPN did on our team, but it wasn't even one or two games or even the championship game. It was an entire journey of a team that flew under the radar for a long time and just did some incredible things because we had an amazing leader in Jim Valvano. Of course, we know Jim Valvano's legacy with the TV Foundation.
Right.
But it was just an amazing journey that doesn't happen all that often. I mean, there are a lot of great Cinderella stories out there, but the way we accomplished it was amazing, and it was just a group of guys who were just so close-knit. We went through our ups and downs, which you cannot do. You can't go through the tough times without, learning something and becoming stronger, and being successful. So my first time in Utah was actually when we came through the regionals there, and I remember we flew into Salt Lake, and it was snowing, and I remember the beauty of the place, and it was my first experience. And little did I know that not too long after that, I was going to be a Utah Jazz man.
Yeah, that'd be your home.
That's right.
As we are. Just, I would like to know what it's like, and then I'll let Andy ask some questions. I've kind of been hogging you because you're my hero, but I wanted to be like you, but I unfortunately stopped at 6'2". So, what was it like playing with so many great athletes? Not just, we know you played with Carl and John, but you played with and against so many great athletes. What was that like?
It was awesome for me because it was really it set the stage for me. We talk to kids all the time about being a dreamer and imagining where you want to be. And back when I was just starting the game, a guy like Dr. J was, he was the vision for me. He was the person I was emulating. And little did I know that, I knew that if I worked hard enough, I could become very good. But sometimes you just don't know how far. You have to dedicate yourself not just to that, but other things around you, like the people you hang out with, your friends, and being coachable at home just as well as on the court. Those kind of things. But as I start to become one of those players that you're talking about, it's interesting because you appreciate it even more because when I was in college and high school, I loved Larry Bird, I loved Magic Johnson, I loved those players, and so in order for me to be able to get to that level, I had to go through a lot of the things that they went through and try to establish myself as one of the best in the world, and that's what NBA players are. So, I used those players, and I tried to pick the ones that I wanted to emulate, not just on the basketball court, but how would they be off the court? If I ever met them, would they take the time with me, sign an autograph? And I always wanted to emulate those kind of guys.
I hadn't even thought about that aspect of becoming a professional. That's amazing.
Yeah, kind of just deciding what type of person you wanted to be, not just the athlete, but the person that people look up to, right?
Exactly.
Just to remind our listeners, we are listening to the Huntsman World Senior Games Active Life on Fox News AM 1450, and our guest is, what I like to call basketball superstar Thurl Bailey.
Big T.
Yeah, Big T. And Thurl, I just wanted to ask you a little bit about what it's been like after leaving professional sports. I mean, I'm old enough now to have seen some of the greats come and then leave the stage, and I just wonder what it's been like. What have you been doing, and how did it feel to know that, hey, now it's over? And give us some insight on that.
That's a great question, and I always say that basketball was an ideal world. It never really defined me. I mean, it was a goal like any other goal that I wanted to reach. It was a great living for me. It was a great foundation for things that would come later. But there's two ways you can leave the game. You can be forced out, or you can plan and you can walk away from the game and say, I gave it all I had, and I had a great run. And you can prepare for your next career, regardless of how much money you made. And when that career is over, you're starting a new career in something.
Well, we've seen that just recently with reports of former professional basketball players who made a lot of money who are now bankrupt.
That's right.
And then others like, even like Shaquille O'Neal, who really seems like I think he went back to school and got an MBA, and he's really involved in business and that type of thing.
Yes, and there are a lot of guys who are doing great things. But what I wanted to do, growing up outside of D.C., the most important thing to me that was stressed in my family was education. With an education, you can go much further, really much further than anything else can take you. And so, I wanted to be able to be a good communicator. And so if there was a job that I ended up wanting, I wanted to be able to sit in front of that boss and let him know, look him in the eyes. And because we didn't have all the technology that kids have today where they tweet everything and they text and this and that instead of having a conversation. So, I wanted to be a great communicator, and I wanted to get a good education. My basketball allowed me to do that. So when I knew that my professional basketball career was coming close to an end, I wanted to plan for what I really loved. Music was one of my loves, and broadcasting was another love of mine. So those are the things that I looked forward to when my playing days were about done, whenever that was going to happen. Because I played 16 years professionally, but it could have happened after my 5th year. Who knows?
Injury, there's lots of things that can happen, yeah.
So wait, I just want to make sure I'm clear on that, Thurl. You're saying that even just a few years into your professional career, you were already putting things in place for this, or I'm not sure if I caught that.
Man, I was 6'11", 188 pounds as a rookie. And I didn't know how long I was going to last in the NBA.
Yeah.
I was a high draft pick, 7th pick in the draft, but I didn't know, and you never know. You may get cut, you may get hurt, you may not be good enough. So what are you going to do? And so I think I know that my parents really taught us about preparation. My dad, when he got me out on the basketball court for the first time, he made me bend my knees in a defensive position and say, this is the most important position you can play in basketball because you're prepared for everything. And then he got his own lesson in there and said, preparation, son, it's important in everything. So he was teaching me without me really knowing it.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, and I know that we didn't know Thurl was going to say that, but your intro it really ties into what you're saying. You just have to prepare to be able to put on a show to make things happen.
Right.
That's right. Now, if you're just joining us, you're listening to the Huntsman World Senior Games Active Life on AM 1450, and our guest is Thurl Bailey, basketball extraordinaire. But I want to move away a little bit from the professional career. I mean, I could talk to you all day and all night about this, but the show is The Active Life, and it's about healthy, active lifestyle. So I want to talk to you a little bit about what changes have you seen in health and fitness through your career and lifetime, and do you see athletics as being a fountain of youth as one ages?
I do, and I'm drinking that. Well, I'm drinking that Kool-Aid, so to speak.
You have aged well, Thurl. I've seen recent pictures of you. You look great.
Very well, yes.
Well, going back to the beginning of your question, when I was in college, it was really when basketball players, football players really had always been into the weights, and
right.
But basketball players were doing some of the same workouts that football players were. And as I got into the NBA, I started to see a lot more sports-specific things. Whether it's things like plyometrics and you look at what basketball players go through, some of the motions, and then people started coming out with things that were really more specific to that sport. Nowadays, man, there's so much technology and there's so many. CrossFit is big now, and
yeah, it is.
Yoga is big for flexibility. So there are so many things right now to choose from. But as I retired, I realized that, especially my last day of playing in an NBA game, I realized that I didn't have to get up and go to the gym the next day. I didn't have to go to practice if I didn't want to,
right.
Gym if I didn't want to. So now what was I going to do to take care of my body, and my lifestyle was about to change. And that's where a lot of our guys get into trouble who are retired, because they still think they can eat the same things, they can have all the habits that they had when they played, when they retired. And I tell you, I look at some of the guys today at some of the retired meetings, and they are 200-300 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
And there are all kinds of health issues, and it's just sad to see.
Yeah, that's true.
But I get in the gym 3 times a week. Andy, you need to find me a gym when I come down that way, man, because I got to have it.
If you're serious, I'll make sure I set something up.
I am.
Okay.
Very serious.
Okay. All right.
Actually, where you're staying is a health spa.
Yeah. I'll make sure we get it all set up for you.
Right.
We've got some great gyms down here in St. George. So you talked a little bit about this, but I wonder if you could go into a little bit more detail, Thurl, about how you have stayed active and healthy. You said a lot of your contemporaries, they retire, they don't make a plan. What are some of the things that you've done, and how have you stayed injury-free as you've aged?
Yeah, and I can tell you I was fortunate when I played. I only missed about 12 games in my whole career.
That's impressive.
In 16 years, right?
In 16 years.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and even if I was 75%, I wasn't about to miss the game. But I think number one with me is diet. It really is diet. It's diet and activity. You don't have to go. I don't lift like I lifted when I played. I don't need to, but I need to stay active. I need to stay in motion. I need to keep my cardio up, and I need to watch what I eat. I don't eat I had to consume at least 10,000 calories a day to maintain my weight when I played.
Wow.
My body fat was sometimes 2%.
Oh my
or
God.
less.
Ouch.
It's kind of dangerous.
Yeah.
But I was an athlete. I was playing games. I was very active. I'm still at my playing weight today, but it's because, I didn't know what a quinoa was back in the day. I didn't know about some of this healthy stuff.
Now you're eating it with your fish and your low-cal things.
Salmon, and we were eating steaks. We were eating a lot of pasta because we could burn that off. But now my lifestyle's changed. I know my body well enough, and that's the other thing: education. Know your body.
It will talk to you, won't it?
What you can't do.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that, Thurl. I have a colleague of mine, a friend of mine a few years ago. He just had a big gut, and he didn't like it, and he was fairly young to have such a big gut, and he said, Andy, I do sit-ups every night, and I don't know a ton about it, but I had been doing some research, and I said, Stan, it's not. I said the top 3 things you could do to get rid of your gut in order are diet, cardio, weights, and then the fourth thing would be ab workouts. So diet is such an important part.
He probably had a great six-pack under his belly.
Yeah, exactly. So and maybe Thurl, just another question. I know we're getting short on time, but something that a lot of our listeners, they deal with. Our games are 50 and older.
Mm-hmm.
So 50 and older, people start coming. We have 28 different sports. This year, we have more athletes than the London Olympics had in 2012. So we have a lot of people. We're pushing 11,000, 10,700 and something this year. We have a lot of people, though, who, as they get older, they're sitting on the couch, they're watching Bob Barker reruns, and they're saying, "Well, my knee hurts, or my shoulder hurts, or my hip hurts." And what would you say to people who really should be out there being athletic, but they're nervous about getting more injured or whatever? Yeah,
well, I would say, first of all, sometimes technology is our worst enemy. To sit there with the remote, and because there's always an excuse not to get up and go outside and walk, or take your wife for a walk or something, and go to the park. And there's always an excuse not to do those things because of television or what have you. But I would say, first of all, again, know your body. If there's something bothering you, go have it checked out. Don't just sit around and think that it's going to get better, and then you have to take pain pills and Advil and
mm-hmm.
Those kind of things. Go know your limits. Know what you can do, know what you can't do, but do it. That's really the key.
Do something. Get out and be active.
Now, if you're just joining us, we're in the last few minutes of The Active Life on AM 1450. We've been talking with Thurl Bailey, professional basketball player. And the time's running down, and I'm going to put you a little bit on the spot here, Thurl, and I hope that's okay. I hope you'll forgive me, but I just want to know, how much do you know about the Huntsman World Senior Games?
You know, I know quite a bit because I've been in Utah for a while. I do know I'm eligible for them.
Well, why aren't you playing in them then?
You know, it's so difficult for me with I've got teenage kids that are excelling. My daughter's a volleyball player at Arizona State. My son's in his junior year in high school. The Jazz season's about to roll around. Of course, I broadcast.
Yeah,
those
you're
games.
You're tied to the Jazz there.
Yeah, but I'm going to get down there one of these times. But I don't know all of what goes into putting those on, but I know that it's a huge, huge undertaking. And you guys have just done a great job, Andy, of putting that together, and the numbers that you have this year are absolutely incredible. So
yeah, that's pretty great.
I've done everything but participate in them, but that's coming.
Well, you're going to participate in a roundabout way this year, Thurl. We're really excited. Thurl's going to be our special guest for the opening ceremonies. He'll be here. He'll address the crowd. He's actually going to sing the national anthem. Is that correct?
That is correct.
That's correct. So,
and he's going to back me up.
You might want to back up a little bit. No, Andy actually has a great voice. He could actually do that.
I would love it. I don't think Kyle's going to let me, but I would love it.
You do that. But we're really excited. The opening ceremonies are Tuesday, October the 7th at the Hanson Stadium. If you want to go and see, that's free to the public. Just come and plan on being there at least 15, 20 minutes early. Be in your seat 15, 20 minutes early because just with the athletes alone, we have a full house. So,
and Jeff, it's going to be an awesome program. I mean, Thurl's going to be there, and I think a lot of people listening to this show know about him and would love to see him and know that he's a great storyteller and a great speaker. And also, I mean, the fireworks and the flag extravaganza. I think it's going to be a great show.
Yeah, that's true. I was going to mention that too, but you're right. Stay for the fireworks. It's good. And Diamond Talent always does a great job with their. They choreograph. They do all the opening ceremony. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're looking forward to spending some time with Thurl and
that's Tuesday night at 7:00.
This coming Tuesday,
7:00 at Hanson Stadium.
And we're going to find Thurl a gym because he's coming down Monday night.
That's right.
So he'll need to get some exercise in, and we'll just stand around and watch him pump.
Well, I know one thing you're going to have at the Huntsman Senior Games is a ton of guys wearing short.
Actually, those are the cyclists, the basketball players.
You watch. There are going to be some basketball players with some John Stockton shorts on.
Well, yeah, John Stockton length, but not early years of the
I've been waiting for them to come back in style, Thurl. I shouldn't admit this, but I actually think they're pretty cool.
Andy still has
my
some.
old ones. I'm ready. Let me know when it happens.
If it happens, if it does. So come on out. It'll be a great time. And Thurl, really, you don't have to come and play basketball. We have other sports. We've heard that some of the professional athletes don't like to come and compete in what they did professionally, and that's understandable, but we can have
golf,
a lot of fun. Golf, yes.
Racquetball, whatever.
You play golf?
I have clubs. Does that make me a golfer?
I have running shoes. Does that make me a runner?
That's a good question.
Hey,
I love to golf. I don't get out as much as I want to, but I had to get... I think my clubs may be... How tall are you?
I'm 6'2".
Yeah, my clubs are like 6'5", each club. So.
Yeah, I don't think I could use them. Anyway, it's been great having you, Thurl. It's been a pleasure to get to know you. You're a delight. Having watched you, I'm feeling very selfish because I've watched you and listened to you as a broadcaster and always admired you. So it's been great having you here.
Thank you.
Do you have anything you want to say in parting?
No, I'm just really glad to have you here too, and just hope everybody can get out and support the athletes over the next 2 weeks. The Huntsman Games, the Huntsman World Senior Games are going to be going on, and St. George, get ready because 20-something different countries, every state in the union, they'll all be here.
That's awesome.
All right, well, thanks, Thurl. This has been the Huntsman World Senior Games Active Life on AM 1450, and just in parting, I want to tell you that there was a 50 and over basketball league. Instead of a jump ball, they put the ball on the floor, and whoever could bend over and pick it up got the ball. Stay active, everyone. Good night. Night.